Good morning everyone and welcome back to another episode of Mocked, where I share my mocks which are pretty subpar but I think are worth sharing over here. And today we're taking a look at my first retro space mock, well at least proper one, and this is a small mech for a classic space minifigure. Now for those of you who don't know, I'm a pretty big fan of the original classic space. I own a couple of the sets which I inherited from my family. And, well, I really like the building style, and I've really been trying to do something in neoclassic space for a long time, but having been working on other projects, it's one that's really taken the sideline and that I haven't really had the time to do until now. And the interesting thing about this mock is I did it entirely out of pieces which I had from spares or just pieces in my general collection. So for once there is no instructions or set which you guys can build along with this one from, unlike my second classic space mock, which I'm hoping will be on the channel in a couple of weeks. But you can see that this is a small bipedal mech. It doesn't have many standing problems. I know I've made it fall over a couple of times now, but that's just because of how I've built the waist and how much articulation you can get with it. So taking a look at where you can seat the figure, you can see there's just a normal platform down at the back like that, where he attaches to, sat down like normal. You can see, as I mentioned, it's a bipedal mech, and it definitely has some articulation, although it's pretty difficult to get it posed. You can see down here from where it's been wobbling that the hips can move backwards and forwards, and if you wanted to increase this articulation, you can always turn that hip piece and probably make him almost sit down like that. But then to make him stably upright, just make sure that's at 90 degrees, and then he does completely stand, although the uneven surface of this box is really not helping him. Anyway, so what was the inspiration here? So classic space are in the three colours of grey, blue and trans yellow as an accent. So those are the colours I had to choose, and neoclassic space, at least for me, is all about those greebles, using pieces in a small detailed way for good effect. And you can see that down here with some of the piece choices that I made. One of them's fallen off quite coincidentally, but we have some minifigure handcuffs which act as some sort of torso support, and in fact, really unusually, the main torso is built out of a old Technic worm gear and the Series 11 hiker minifigure rope attachment, and that is just wrapped around the worm gear there for some added extra texture and detail. You can see there's some sort of searchlights on his ankles, as well as some nice flat feet for him to stand on, or else he would not stand up. As I mentioned, there's those handcuffs there, kind of swinging into the side, adding some more kind of thickness to the torso, because that was quite thin before. And you can also see the small control set with those two tap pieces poking through either side of that blue stud. And that has some movability to it here. You can see each of the shoulders can turn about 30 degrees over here. The upper shoulders are using lever pieces for that bit of added detail, and those have been slotted into some Technic click hinges, and that is just for some added detail, maybe some other purposes, and those end off in a 1x1 tile in the corner. The arm is fairly simple, there's no hands. I'm using microphone pieces as sort of a finger or connection point, and I chose to use these Clockwork Robot minifigure pieces on the mid-arms for, I'm not really sure why, but I thought it added a nice little touch to the model. The other arm is identical. I was playing around with like giving each arm a distinct purpose, but this is definitely more just like a base robot which hangs around and is useful for multiple tasks, for reaching higher, loading crates and stuff. But it was more of just an experiment of, can I build in this style? And I think for me the answer is a resounding maybe. I think at a bigger scale and with a better piece selection I could do a lot more with this concept. I definitely think the model's okay. I don't really see a problem with it. It articulates and it does stand up, like I can move my arm up and down and around. I can move my legs as we've seen. I can get some sort of posing going on. I managed it earlier. It's probably not going to do it now. Nope, we're breakdancing. But this is a thing with me that I need to work on, is I definitely need to up the stability of my models. I mean, I'm definitely alright at it sometimes, but I'm definitely not perfect. But that's all for today. I just wanted to give you guys a quick look into this model. I was pretty pleased with it at the time. I think it did a good job at fitting in with my retro space sets, and I'm sure you will see this set soon when I show off the rest of my retro space collection from 78. Anyway, if you enjoyed this mock or this really dodgy filming style, or if you're interested in any of the stuff I do, consider subscribing so that you don't miss out on the custom set showcase, as well as all these other little mocks and bits that I show you guys, as well as some other content that I do from time to time. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought down below, and goodbye.